All right. Call on to order. I think our first item of business is gonna be, we gotta elect officers. It's our first meeting. So we need a chair, vice chair, and secretary.
I'd like to nominate Ed to be the chair again.
Second. Any discussion?
I'll second Ed being the chair.
Okay, on the board. I'll do it. Now vice chair. Nominate Daryl.
Well, I'll second.
You're a sucker.
We need the yin and yang here. Discussion, all in favor? Secretary. Who's not here?
Last.
Is Emily still?
I'm on the board anymore.
I didn't get off to be the secretary.
I did it for 3 years, is that long? And feel like they can handle that? It basically just involves like, keep track of who said what, it's pretty, and you have the templates from Emily.
I know, I want to revoke my vote for you as
I'm already.
co-chair and make you secretary because you've done it before at other events.
All right, we need someone.
I'm just looking down at the board.
I'm looking with you at the back.
It's lovely.
Could somebody be both vice chair and
No.
secretary?
No, chair and secretary, but not vice chair.
Guys, I did it for 3 years. It's not that hard, I promise.
I did it 1 year. And I did every minute of it.
Okay, one of you two.
I just heard, she just raised her hand. So.
No, I didn't.
What do you think, guys?
Is this all of us? There's nobody missing?
Someone else like
It's one vacancy.
Nancy.
Huh.
I nominate Nancy.
I second.
All in favor?
Because she's not here. So
Yeah,
There's a question on the budget committee.
it's an incentive to make the meeting.
But I think she's gonna be away for a little while.
We can come, I can cover for it if we do that. But we have some secretary, if she's not there, I can.
And we do record it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so. Do you have any paperwork, Dave?
What's
Do
that?
we have any paperwork for this?
I think Sean's got one paper that you know what to do.
It's basically, we're just here to make a recommendation on school board's recommendation, which is to. Amend the amount, correct?
The
warrant to put in and I'll give you two things. This is what we've drafted for the whole process. For the page that is important to you guys right now. Yeah, you're welcome. And then for those of you who weren't at the school board meeting, I made a copy of our presentation we made. Some of them were there. You can refer to that too, if it's a little hard to read.
Got it at home.
Okay.
Me too. I have a phone still.
Thank you, though.
If it's uncomfortable, it's gonna make you shy, you probably need to go speak and talking to anybody who's watching. Let it go on.
I'm all in. So, yeah. I can start in one of two places. I can summarize what happened, which is what we covered at the school board meeting, for those of you who weren't there. Or I can go to what the school board approved as a new article for Article 13.
I believe two of you guys were not there, right?
I was not.
Yeah. She's been filled in. Do you want to do something that's going on? Or you feel you know stuff? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll start with the new warrant article and what will hopefully go to the select board. The article is to amend the Article 13, which is the additional local that's required and it requires a secret ballot vote when it's approved at a special town meeting. The amount that we are amending it by is, you can see it on page 2, is $331,709, which is exactly how much the original Article 13 was short by. And for those of you who were at the April 7th and 8th, I think it was April 8th for the budget committee, you guys noted that the original article that came in front of you had included a separate item in the revenue sheet for debt service. Debt service for you guys is covered in your ED 279. And so when you take that number out, you have to actually raise the additional local by that amount, because that money was anticipated to be coming from or going towards the general fund to fund the rest of the warrant articles. So when that change was made in the warrant article or out of this meeting, when the final warrant articles were drafted, they used the original 1.2, essentially 1.2 million as the additional local, and it should have been a 1.6 million. So it's short. It was short by $331,000 and some change. What it represents is essentially not being able to raise and expend the entire amount that the budget was approved for. The budget itself, as it was presented to the community and to you, hasn't changed. The total amount that the school system was asking for is still the same. The taxpayer impact is unchanged, unless we didn't go through with this process, in which case the taxpayer impact would go down as it was presented. But it would also mean that the school would have to make some very difficult choices to find that $331,000. So in a nutshell, that's where we're at. The article and the entire warrant section that hopefully after tonight I'll bring to the select board. We had drafted by Drummond and Woodsum to make sure that we don't make a second mistake here in trying to correct that first mistake. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, so at the last meeting, first presented this, I thought it would be maybe good for voters to see $331,000. What's that mean for $100,000 appropriation, assessment on your property?
Correct. And Dave, correct me if I've got the number wrong, but I think it represents about $70 per 100,000. Is that in the ballpark? Dave was nice enough to do the calculation based on your mill
I
rate.
probably need to come over next to the microphone since I just people do. Based on last year's taxable value, John's number is correct. Thereabouts. Obviously this year we're in the process of implementing, or should be in the process of implementing a revaluation. So I can't tell you what it will be this year, but last year's put you in the ballpark.
Okay, so that's not written here, but there's gonna be this public meeting, so I'm sure that can be brought up again in front of everyone who's gonna be voting, so they got the number.
Right. So in
Yeah.
the explanation, I don't think it makes good sense to put a number in that we don't know is firm.
Okay.
So that should only be factual, whatever gets put in.
Okay.
Now that you've sat down, your town administrator, based on the information that you have, what would be your expectation of that $70? Would it remain about the same, or is it expected to rise or decrease?
I think you will see a decrease in that. But that's only because your value of your properties are going to increase. In some cases, probably quite dramatically. So if we had the same amount of money and the value that we're looking to raise from the public, from property taxpayers, and everybody's value doubled, the mill rate would be cut in half. It's just math, but not everybody's property is going to increase by the same, at the same rate the last time this was done, so. And I don't have data or numbers from the reval company, nobody else does, and they don't even have them. They're still out, they had a team of 3 doing inspections today, so it's in the works, but we're not gonna have it.
I think at the last meeting also you emphasized people passed the school budget. Did it say that in here that people approved the total amount?
Correct.
And it was just the assessment.
So the expenditure side of
Yeah.
the budget has not changed. And
Yeah.
that was, there are several places where that's approved, all the individual expense articles, and then there's a final article that summarizes the entire budget.
Yeah.
What the issue in front of us is that what we got approval to raise and expend was short by 331,000.
So that's not written here, but I'm sure that'll come out in discussion
It is.
as well.
Is it? Yeah, explanation of why. I guess my thought is like, this is a budget, it's school board went over, approved, this budget that we went over, approved, is a budget that's town, voters of the town went over, approved. Clerical error is what this is. And I think my very strong feelings that we all knew that the increase we're looking at, we knew what we're approving really closely this budget, a lot of discussions here, and the school board did as well, and how they voted for it. And now because clerical error is back up front again. It makes my thoughts on this pretty clear. I'll think about the town, people of town.
I think for me, the bigger, hi, I'm Lori, by the way, I don't think I've said before. My bigger issue with this, the level we have, is that there's been, over the course of the last 2 years, which I know you have not been part of, multiple mathematical errors on multiple documents we've been provided. I have a little bit of a hard time understanding how we reviewed this in early April, questioned the math situation. The person that was here was like, sure, it was right, like revisited it. I think we had a meeting after that. It was brought up again that it was fine. June happens, we vote for it. Like, what happens? Like, how did they, like, my thing is like $330,000. That's a pretty large amount to be off. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me that it was off that much. And I just need to understand what we're going to do to prevent these issues going forward.
Yeah.
Because it's been an ongoing issue.
And I hear that, right, and I appreciate that. One thing I can assure you is I'm very comfortable with school finance. I've been involved in it for the last 4 years in the Camden Rockport schools, and then about 10 years ago in AOS 98. So I understand how these warrant articles need to be constructed. I understand how the numbers need to add up in a particular way. And without casting any stones, my process would be very different. I think what happened here was there were multiple versions of the revenue sheets that were being used internally, and the wrong one got pulled up when the final articles were written, and the wrong number from a previous revenue sheet was entered into the final. There are ways, I think, for us to make sure that doesn't happen. The business manager and I have talked multiple times about what kinds of steps do we need to take internally to reduce the opportunity for a mistake like this to be made. One of the things that I think I'm going to lean on is somebody as knowledgeable as Dave, to sit down with me before we're towards the end and say, hey, this is what I've got. Make sure you're okay. We'll see what the school committee thinks. I think there's value in running warrant articles through the service that Drummond and Woodson provides. It costs a little money, but they are immaculate in terms of what they can do. Double checking numbers, making sure that what we're asking is exactly what we need to fund the budget and that the numbers all add up. So I will not come in front. I would feel obligated to maybe step aside if I made the same kind of mistake in the future.
All right, I'll be the difficult one. That's your job. You hand out at the last meeting was incorrect. The budget committee actually voted 6-3, not 7-2.
Okay,
So there was 3 of us that voted against, and I'll put myself out there. I was one of them because we thought the budget was bigger than it should be. And my comment was, we can't sustain a $400,000 increase year over year. We just can't do that. So we all know that this is gonna be a tough sell to people when we put this out to ballot. Even though we've approved it, they're gonna be like, I can save some money if I vote no, regardless of what this entails. So has any thought been given to a compromise where you could trim some of this? Or was the mentality, we've already gotten it approved, we're gonna run with it?
well, I think there's a couple issues there. One of them's timing. To go back to the budget and look for a place for some savings would require, I can't tell you how long, honestly, but it would take us, easily another week or so. The problem also is that a lot of the players are on vacation right now. School principals on vacation who developed the original expenditure side of the budget. And as Dave has communicated to me, he is hoping to have, the ability to put out the tax impact to citizens in the normal time frame. If there was an approval here for this amount, I would probably have a conversation with Tracy and the board about whether we need to add some time into this process and look for a change in what we're asking for. So I can't give you a firm answer on how long it would take or what it would look like if we were asked, either probably by the select board, to do that.
And my concern, to be quite honest, is, I would love to have seen the school budget a little bit less than it was, not by 331,000. I think that was an unrealistic number, and I'm worried that that's what we're going to be faced. And that was my concern looking at this.
Yeah.
At this point, Joe, of course, our responsibility is to vote yes or no on whether we want to recommend it. But yeah, I mean, if it fails the vote, then yeah, that's what we have to do. That's not gonna be a compromise, it's gonna be a hard cut.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult spot for the community to be within, I appreciate that.
Do we have some members of the public here? Either of you want to speak? Tracy, school board chair.
I can, sure. That is from the Tracy O'Brien from the school committee. Definitely recognize what you're like. Nobody wants to see the school have to do over 300,000 of cuts, because that will impact programming for our children. And that is the last thing that we want to see. Recognizing what you're saying about, is there a way to trim? The budget was created, and that is what we have for line items, and that also was approved by the voters. So that's a separate warrant article that already was approved. And so, to the point of trying to now move around numbers again, that impacts other warrant articles, which I guess have to spend up to that. But I just think for us, we have to make sure it doesn't happen again. It was a clerical error, not a actual line item of, multiple different budget line items that were messed up. It was a debt service line, debt service line that got removed from one and needed to be added to the other. And so it wasn't like the whole budget is off and that there's lots of errors within the budget. The budget itself is accurate and is what we thought we could get as lean as we could while still providing a really good, rich educational experience for the children in town. And making sure that our staff are also feeling well supported in their roles at the building. So, I mean, I think I'm hopeful that we'll be able to explain that to the town, that as school committee chair, we need to own, we messed this up. But we do still believe that the budget that was approved is the right budget for our town to be able to support our children. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get that message out to the town folks so that they understand this 330,000 is still to apply to that correct budget that was created and passed by the town.
If I remember that debt service, this is the last year.
Thank God, yes. Yep,
Won't be an issue.
yep. And fingers crossed, maybe we'll have some audit done at that point. I mean, it's all with the auditor, so maybe.
Well, if it's the last year of debt service, that amount, assuming your subsidy from the state is in the same ballpark, will not be able. Sure.
You want, okay.
Hi all, I'm Dawn Emery. I'm a teacher at Lincolnville Central School and I'm also the president of the Lincolnville Education Association. I wasn't really planning to say anything. I was really just coming to listen. But I feel like I need to say something that I say to my students all the time, which is mistakes are how we learn. And these are not the kinds of mistakes that any of us as adults want to see happen. But I do hope that the town of Lincolnville and all of you and students can come away from this experience learning something about ourselves and about how we care about one another, about how we've got a great new superintendent. And I just wanted to say that I will also let you know that I have been in touch with, I just got back from a trip myself. I need a little respite. I reached out starting yesterday when, after I'd spoken with Justin Bennett, our principal, to a dozen teachers who are very concerned about what this will mean for the school this coming year. And you should know, and I want you to know, that that school operates really lean. There is not tons of extra. I teach 2 subjects plus gifted and talented. Most of us have multiple jobs and are constantly filling holes. So there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of fat there. So I really appreciate you guys supporting us and the students and support me too. Thanks for being there for us in this not so fun moment.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we ready? To vote, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we support the new amount, additional amount, however you want it phrased, of 331,709 to correct a typo in the original budget.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All right, all in favor? And opposed? All right, passes. Thank you, guys. Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Can I just say one more thing? I want to thank you for coming out on a beautiful afternoon. On behalf of the school board and myself. It's not what you want to do, so I appreciate you making that.
Thank you and welcome.
Hope to see you next year.
I will see you guys in 2026 if not before. Small town.